guys, welcome back to the Cocco channel and to $1 Q&A. I asked you guys if you wanted to see a Q&A for Vlogmas, and you guys voted on if it was just me or me and Andrew, and you guys said couple it up. So here we are. We haven't done one of these since Christmas of 2017. It's been a while. Lots changed. Lots happened. So I asked you on Instagram and on YouTube, so there's a There's a couple of questions. Sorry, I can't talk. So I'm gonna start with Instagram. So Miss Chris Loves Makeup asked, what is your favorite thing about each other and which kid is most like either of you? We'll answer the question one first. So that noise is all me. Aiden acts exactly like me, but he looks exactly like Andrew. Sorry this isn't more professional, but Andrew literally leaves tomorrow, so it's the last chance that we have to film this. And I would say Bailey acts exactly like Andrew, but looks just like me. Do you agree?
I think both of our personalities are kind of in both the kids. You know, Aiden likes to be by himself a lot.
Which is a trait of yours. Yeah,
he kind of likes to do his own thing. And Bailey is more social, I guess you would say. She doesn't mind being around people. She doesn't mind being the center of attention. That's definitely not me. I don't like all that stuff.
I don't mind that. And then your favorite thing about me? That's a hard one to pick just one thing. Like,
well, it's hard to say it without being like super cheesy too, you know?
I love the cheese. Bring on the cheese.
I think it's just not just about you. I think it's just knowing that, just the fact that you're somebody that I can rely on, you know, and have no questions. Like, I don't go to work and be like, oh my gosh, I don't know if she's spending my money or...
Well, you already know the answer to that.
Well, I know you're not irresponsible with it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just the money, but it's everything else that goes with it. Like, I know that the kids are taken care of when I'm gone. You know, we make big financial decisions together, and just having like a teammate, so to speak, kind of in your life. Somebody that you know that you can fall back on and not get criticized about it. You know, I've had moments of weakness. Yeah, I've had real moments of weakness. Well, moments that I felt down or ashamed of myself, and you know, Brittany's never ridiculed me or, you know, made me feel like less of a man or anything like that. It's more so picking me up, kind of, you know, and get me back on track.
That's what it's all about, baby.
That's what marriage should be.
Yeah. Partners in crime. My favorite thing about Andrew is hands down his ability to be even-keeled. Like, patience of his is like my favorite thing in the world, because if he didn't have patience, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be together. Like, he is the most patient, non-judgmental, like, whether he knows you or not, like, he's never going to be like, oh, this person's stupid because, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's just the nicest, kindest, most patient person. And that's helped out so much, not only with like our relationship, but like having Aiden. I feel like, because obviously Bailey like doesn't really have a personality yet where you're like, oh my God, you know, she's a baby. But like Aiden, who's a toddler, I'm sure everyone's like that with their toddlers no matter what. But like, you know, having this like learning curve of Aiden and his delays and stuff like that, I struggle with that. I've never dealt with anything like that, whereas Andrew has like a little bit of experience with that because his two younger brothers are autistic. And so I find myself like having a harder time like dealing with Aiden sometimes, and you know, I just get like to the end of my rope and stuff like that, and Andrew like always brings me back down and like brings Aiden back down, and it's like a dynamic in our family that we wouldn't make it without it. It's really strange, but yeah, his even tone, like he's kind of, everyone makes fun of him that he's just like so quiet and like, you know, very even, and he's not up or down, but that is like, I guess what balances us, because I'm so like up and down. I'm kind of crazy. I like one minute I'm really, really happy, and the next I'm like really mad. It's just how I am, and he's just so even that I feel like he just balances me so well, and that's like my favorite thing about him is just he gives me so much peace and calmness when I need it the most.
I think I have small moments, very short bursts of where I do like goofy things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
he does make me laugh. He makes me laugh like no one I've ever met. Like, I don't mean he's just like this lump on a log and I'm like, oh, it's just great. He's just sits there and it's perfect. I just meant like his temperament, because I have like such a high temper. He definitely, I think I can count on one hand how many times I've seen his temper in our almost 8 years of marriage. But every single day he makes me laugh in like the most random ways. He's a very unique sense of humor, and it makes me laugh. It's not like slapstick, but at the same time it kind of is.
Yeah, kind of like a drag. I am a boring person. I'll be the first person to admit that to you.
But he does have a great sense of humor.
My idea of fun is staying home. I really enjoy that.
And I feel like that's where I come in to balance you. Like, I definitely bring you out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. When I do go out, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I'm kind of glad that I went out. A lot of times I'm just like, just ready to go back home. I'm a homebody.
And I feel like Aiden does all right out and about. Towards Bailey, like she doesn't want anything to do with her car seat, doesn't want anything to do with a lot of stuff. She's a homebody, I feel like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it flip-flops, but I definitely feel like the kids look like one of the other of us. Like, well, Bailey's kind of turning a little bit towards Andrew. But we're not going to talk about that because it's not fair. I carried them both. It's not fair. Okay, House of Taylor says, what is Andrew's job in the Air Force? And I'll keep you and your beautiful family in my prayers. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you. So I'm security forces. That's Air Force is what they call the military police. So we're not MPs, we're security force. Well, you can call us MPs, nobody's going to get offended. We're just called security forces. So yeah, just military police, essentially. The overwhelming majority of what we do is security. We have some bases have a little bit of a law enforcement mission, but I mean it's in our name, security. So that's the majority of what we do. But we kind of do both worlds. We're capable of doing both worlds, and I think we're pretty good at it. So
like it entails like the police aspect, like so if another Air Force member is acting a fool, they can most definitely get arrested by security forces, but they also like secure the base, like, you know, entryways. Some of them can be like assigned to specific portions of the base depending on where you're at. Like when we were in DC, Andrew was assigned to Air Force One hangar, and that was like his job, that mission of that squadron. So it can vary from base to base, but yeah, like he said, he does like the power of both. Like when he says policing, like he can definitely get involved in, like, you know, there's people that live on bases in most cases. It's not that way with us being in the Guard now, but in DC, like you had houses on base, and so there were like domestic violence calls, there were fires, there were break-ins. If you remember my craziest story of the scariest night of my life, we had some jerk break into our house, and we don't call the police.
Yeah. Well, you can, if you're on base, you can call the police, but then you tell them you're on base, they're going to route you to our desk, and you know what it dispatch. So we security forces as military police, we can respond to the same thing as civilian law enforcement. Now, I'm not saying we're on the same level as civilian law enforcement. Civilian law enforcement, they deal with a lot more and more dangerous things, just because, you know, typically somebody in the military, whether you're a military member or a civilian, you kind of have to go through a vetting process to get on the installation. Civilian law enforcement, they don't have that. They're dealing with everybody under the sun. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of fortunate in that we're not dealing with felons every day like the guys and girls on the streets are. It's rough out there, but if there is a situation on base, then we are responding. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, and then we can have civilian law enforcement come and back us up too. It's kind of cool.
That is cool. Thank you for your prayers, Taylor.
Yeah, thank you.
Miss Dickinson, Miss Shamana says, when Andrew leaves and comes back, do y'all have a special traditions for homecoming?
It's gonna be different this time because the first time I left, we didn't have kids. We were still like a couple years away from having Aiden.
Yeah.
So the first time we got home, we went on vacation. We went to Florida. The Disney World and Universal Studios was a blast. This time, I don't know. I honestly don't even know. I might just want to come home and just spend a week just vegging at the house with the family, you know. Getting reacquainted with the kids. When the kids are that young, I think there's going to be a little bit of a time period where you kind of they have to get used to you again, especially the baby.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're kind of thinking about different things. Like Brittany had mentioned, going to Disneyland or Universal Studios down in California this time, and maybe just taking a weekend, her and I up there. Or I definitely, when I come home, it's going to be summer, so I want to go fishing up at one of the lakes. We struck out the last few years. We haven't caught anything, so I want to catch some fish. But rent a boat. I don't know.
Yeah, we've thrown around a couple ideas. Like, we definitely want to do something just him and I because, like he was saying, like, he has to reintroduce himself to his kids. And you kind of have that process with each other, too, because 6 months, like, you kind of recreate a new routine that you have to introduce him back into, not only with, like, yourself, but with your kids and stuff like that. And so it's, I think, really, really important. And Andrew and I have spent quite a bit of time apart from each other. Like, I think our first couple years of marriage, we spent more time apart than we did married. And so you kind of always have that process of like reintroducing yourself, you know, because you constantly grow and change. And especially for individuals, like he's going to be in a dorm room where he's solely responsible for himself. So he's going to get in that routine of just picking up after himself and, you know, coming back into this big, huge house with 2 loud people and stuff like that. And same with me. Like, I'm very used to like cleaning up after myself, cooking for myself, or whatever the case is. And so you always want to reintroduce yourselves to each other. So it's important to like spend time at home, but it's also important to separate yourselves as couple. And so we were talking to, you know, some family about watching the kids for like a weekend. And I think that we really do want to do Universal Studios Hollywood, because when we went to Florida, we called it our honeymoon because we didn't take one when we first got married. And we like went all out. Like, we did all the tours. We did, you know, like the staying on site at Universal Studios. We had like the fast pass, and it was the most amazing vacation that him and I have taken as a couple. We've had some really cool family vacations, but we loved it so much more than Disney World. I know that's like taboo. A lot of people really loved Disney World. Andrew and I felt like you just spend too much time going back and forth between the parks. Like, you have to take a bus to the tram, and the tram to the park, and then the bus to the park. Like, it was just too much for us. We much prefer Disneyland over Disney World, but we want to see how we like Universal Studios Hollywood compared to Orlando, I think. And so we had such a good time at the Harry Potter world and like butterbeer and the rides. And we had this thing that was like our favorite thing. I need to find those. We had unlimited ride pictures, and so we figured out where the camera was, and we were just doing poses after poses, and we had like a stack, I'm not kidding you, like this thick of just pictures from rides. And it was a really good memory. So I think that him and I will probably do that as a couple. We'll pick one or the other. I'm pretty sure we'll pick at Universal's, and then we'll definitely do like a family vacation, like go camping or, you know, whatever. But he gets, how much time do you get when you get back? You get like
when I got back, I think it's, at least in Maryland, I got 2 weeks R&R, and then on top of that I can take leave. So
but the tricky thing about R&R is that they told you couldn't leave, remember?
Yeah, something about the local area.
Yeah, you have to stay like in
within a certain radius.
Yeah.
But
that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're gonna take off like as soon as he gets home. And we still have quite a bit to do when he gets home. Like, I was telling you guys that we're looking at cars, and so maybe we just got a brand new car and we can't even afford to do like a big vacation with just me and him. Not that it's gonna be big, but you know, like a weekend away, maybe we're gonna have to wait until the next bonus comes around or something like that. There's no telling, but yeah. So I think tradition is definitely like, you have to spend that time and work and make that effort to like intertwining the family back together as like a unit. It takes some getting used to, especially like Andrew said, like with Bailey, she's not gonna remember Andrew, and that's not like her fault or anything like that, or Andrew's fault. Like, he didn't make a good enough impression or anything. It's just how that baby mind works. Cinnamon Girl Beauty, the gorgeous Miss Michelle, says, fun, love seeing you both together. Here's some questions for you. If you both could travel anywhere in the world together, where would it be? Him and I have talked a lot about doing Europe. That I feel like is a dream vacation for us.
I would love to see Italy. I'd like to go see all the ancient architecture. Even Greece, seeing all the architecture over there, old ancient stuff would be really cool. The history is fascinating, and just to be able to see where a lot of these famous people through history actually walked at one time, thousands of years ago, it'd be kind of a, I don't know, it would just be really cool just to see. Just like walking around DC and seeing all the artifacts from just a couple hundred years ago when, you know, during the Revolutionary War and stuff was really cool. And, our history is so cool. It's so fascinating. And so, yeah, I would like to see that.
Andrew's a huge history buff. Like, he listens to podcasts about, like, Roman wars and, like, Greek, I don't know. He's into all of that. So I think that would definitely, like, we would almost split ourselves. Europe would be the place that we would go, but, like, my thing would be, like, Paris and London and stuff like that. Like, I'm very into architecture and fashion, and I love the history, too. Like, I feel like I'm much more into, like, World War II history, World War I history. That would be like really interesting to me to see, like, Germany and the wall, and you know what I mean, like different battlegrounds over there. I feel like would be really, really interesting to see. And yeah, Andrew would definitely be more in, like, to older history and architecture and stuff like that. I feel like we kind of did that, like, on our last trip. We did a tour, like, in the East Coast, and my mom and I were, like, into all the Halloween stuff. Like, we went to Sleepy Hollow and we went to Salem, and, like, we were into all of that. Whereas, like, my dad and Andrew were, like, into Plymouth and, you know, Gettysburg and stuff like that. Like, they were more into the history, and my mom and I were, like, into, what is that called? Like, not holiday, but I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I think that our dream vacation would definitely be Europe, and we would just, like, break it up and do some different things. Greece would be really, really cool, but for me it would be, like, seeing the water and, like, the shopping the island and, like, stuff like that. Whereas Andrew would definitely be into researching, like, the different, or seeing the research on, like, the different wars and all that. Like, he talks about wars I've never even heard of, but I'm not a history buff, so I think that would be a really cool vacation. That would be a real expensive vacation, but that's, I think, where we would go. And she said, we all know makeup is your favorite hobby, but what does Andrew love doing in his downtime?
This goes back to me being that boring person. It's kind of it seems kind of weird considering that, you know, I'm married with 2 kids, but I really like doing stuff by myself. There are times that it's like, it's nice to be with the family, but I don't know. Ever since I was a little kid, since I was a little child, I liked playing by myself.
But what's your hobby? Like, so when you're by yourself, what do you like to do?
I enjoy video games. I really do. Sometimes I get bored with them though. If I'm playing by myself, it's like, all right, this is kind of getting old now. If I'm not, like, online with my brother or one of my best friend, then it gets old real quick. I enjoy reruns. I've seen Futurama I don't know how many times, but I still enjoy it. You know, it's very relaxing to me.
And then I would say, like, history, and, like, he watches, like, a lot of podcasts. He's, like, very into politics, and not politics per se, but, like, world events and stuff like that. Yeah. He, you know, reads the Drudge Report, and
I was really getting into politics, like, really, like, learning a lot about it. I was getting really knowledgeable, just teaching myself. And then it just got to the point where I was just in this perpetual anger. I kind of limit myself to how much politics I pay attention to now. I refuse to be ignorant about it, but I try not to get myself worked up over it like I used to, because it's just a waste of time.
He could debate, though, if he really wanted to. Like, if I see something online and say something, he's like, oh, well, the thing about that is blah, 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 blah. I feel like maybe I choose to be ignorant about it. I'm not as well informed as he is, like, with events and stuff. But he's constantly, like, has his phone on a podcast or a radio show, or, you know, he's constantly reading and stuff like that. He's very well informed. I feel like he chooses to inform himself very well on all kinds of stuff, not just politics.
Yeah, learning. I found, like, when I was in school, you just kind of, being here, as lucky, as fortunate as we are, you know, going to school was just like, oh man, I don't want to go to, I don't want to learn. But now I found out I'm getting older that learning is actually a lot of fun. You know, I'm not putting on people talking about string theory or anything like that, you know, but it's just whatever I'm interested in. History, animals, gardening, whatever it is, and just learning about it and kind of being self-taught on a lot of this stuff. It's just a lot of fun. So yeah, I guess that is a hobby of mine.
Yeah.
Learning.
That's a turn on that you love to learn and like constantly, I mean, you could bring up pretty much any subject and he's like, oh, well, you know, I don't know. It's really nice that he does that. I feel kind of stupid next to him, but I choose to inform myself on like different things, I guess. But yeah, I think that that's really cool. He's constantly like has his like Bluetooth on and he's like listening, not Bluetooth, he has like this little speaker that he clips onto his shirt and he's like listening to whatever. So I think that's really cool. Last question is, did you both decide on a new car to buy? Love y'all. Love you, Michelle.
Oh, you didn't answer your hobby.
She knows what my hobby is. She was asking what your hobby was.
Oh.
She said, we know your hobby's makeup. What's Andrew's hobby?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so video games and
yeah,
learning.
Mm-hmm. What car did we decide to buy?
We're going back and forth right now. We're kind of, I think we're leaning towards the Chevy Traverse. But we also really like the Toyota Highlander, and Toyota, they get such good ratings, you know, so. Mm-hmm.
There's things that we like about both, and some of the options are available that we like on one, it's available on the other. So I think it's really going to come down to price. It's either going to be the Toyota Highlander, which is the one that like my heart was set on, but I didn't even think about the Traverse and I fell in love with it as well. So it's really going to come down to pricing, I think, because they're very comparable in each like category, like gas and safety and, you know, price and features. Like the standard features that are available now in vehicles, especially like larger vehicles like that, it's insane. You know, the like maps and the touch screen and the this and the that. Like our car that we have right now is a 2009, and so it's been a long time since we've bought a vehicle. And so, you know, third row was like really important to us, and both of them have that because we're just not sure about the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Air Bear #1 said, hi, would you consider expanding Cocco floor by selling items kind of like maybe a mini Redbubble? I like some of the sayings you have on your t-shirts, but would love to see them maybe on a mug or other items. Yes. 2019 is going to be a pretty cool year for Cocco floor. I was lucky and blessed by my loving husband who got me a mug press. So mugs are coming. I need to find good ones. I still need to experiment with the mug press and stuff like that, but I definitely want to expand Cocco floor not only into mugs, but like also getting some other parties involved in selling more items. So 2019 is gonna be really cool. Now that Andrew's leaving, I'll have more time to focus on it. He just takes up all of my time. So the answer is yes. Hannah Whitworth says, maybe not a good question for a Q&A, but do you have any helpful tips for teeny tiny YouTubers? Oh,
Teenage what?
Teeny tiny YouTubers.
Oh.
Teenage what? Maybe she is a teenager. I definitely think that you should find what you're passionate about and what you're going to enjoy doing for YouTube and go with that. Don't go with what is popular right now. Don't go with what other people are doing. When I first started out YouTube, I was like doing the makeup, and I still do that every once in a while. But I noticed like I wasn't, #1, as good as other YouTubers. #2, like I wasn't as passionate about it. And so I think that that definitely translates into your videos, and people can pick up on that. Like me, I've been complimented on like my storytelling skills. I don't know why that's hard to think. I'm like very animated and weird, and I do like voices, and so it's like an entertainment thing, and so that's like my most popular view. Like some of my story times have like 50,000 views on it, you know, because that's just what people enjoy. And then like for my weekly thing, I love sharing, and in my mind, I hope I'm helping some other women that may be in a similar situation as me. Like, you know, you're a stay-at-home mom, or you're, you know, doing whatever. And so people can really relate, as that's what I'm told. I'm not trying to like Rudy toot toot, but that's what I love doing. And so my vlogs are my most viewed on a weekly basis. So I don't have like millions of views on them or anything. But, you know, when I go to sit down and do like makeup videos, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't feel as confident in it. And so I think it translates into my videos and they're just not watched. And you'll find like what your passion is, and that's going to translate into your videos. I truly believe that. You know, there's like Shauna, who does amazing sit down and get ready with me, because she's passionate about makeup, you guys. Like, she gets so excited and like vibrant and crazy, and like just, she does an amazing job at chit chat get ready with me, because she does like shows you the process and like how everything works and stuff like that. Like Michelle from Cinnamon Girl Beauty does amazing reviews and hauls. She's very in depth. She like is professional about it and shows you and takes the time to, whereas like my hauls, I'm like, look, blah, 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 and it's like far away. And even though I really enjoy shopping, as Andrew can tell you, I just, you know, I don't know, I just feel like my weekly vlogs. And then if something isn't working, you know, kind of reevaluate it. Like Missy from The Welder's Wife, she was doing the same thing. She was doing like makeup videos and hauls and stuff, and she like sat and, you know, took the time to figure out like, this isn't what's for me. And so now she does cleaning videos, and she does meals, like weekly meals and grocery shopping on a budget, and she has like almost 10,000 subscribers just in the matter of like a couple of months. So I feel like it's never too late to start. I don't feel like you should be discouraged ever. You just need to find what is your thing and be passionate about it, and, you know, don't be scripted and like fake, because people definitely pick up on that. So I think that's my best advice. Like, you don't need the best equipment, you don't need all the best lighting, you don't need children screaming in your background. You just need to find what works for you, and you know what I mean, people will come. The people will come. Miss Butterfly Sings says, when you were growing up, what did you want to be? How have your dreams and aspirations evolved through your life? What did you want to be when you were growing up?
I remember when I was a little kid, let's see, it must have been the first grade, I decided I want to be a cop. I want to be a police officer. That was like my dream. And as I got older, it kind of morphed from like cop to firefighter. And then when I was in high school, it was like the military, 100% military. But now I have both, the best of both worlds, kind of. Mm-hmm. You know, so I kind of always stuck on one path, so to speak, you know. I worked at Bank of America, I worked retail, and I knew, I was like, I don't have any desire to go management or anything. This is just kind of a temporary thing till I get what I want. So, and I'm happy with the decision I made with staying in the military. You know, getting out of active duty and then going into the Guard as a full-timer again, it is probably the best thing. This is the best job I've ever had, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm very lucky. I'm taken care of. Air Force takes care of us, for sure. Mm-hmm.
That's true. Even though they're a pain in the butt sometimes and you have to work with them a lot, I've never like felt so secure as we do right now. And I don't think Andrew's been as happy with work as he is right now. I think active duty, you're just, you know, constantly, I don't know, it was such a bigger squadron, and so there was like a lot of nonsense, and they were like a little bit more strict. And then going to this squadron where it's a little bit smaller and they're a little bit more tight-knit, like you have a little bit more room to, you know, I don't know, they just work with you a little bit more, I think. I love where he is now. I love where he is now. As for me, when I was growing up, I swore up and down I was going to be a teacher. I don't think I've ever mentioned this. And my freshman year of high school, I went into a program. It was like a magnet school within a school. And they had a teach program. And so we had to like come up with lesson plans and like all of that. And that is when I was like, nope, not for me. And I kind of had an inkling I was going to lean towards the medical field. My mom worked at an orthopedic office for like 10 years when we were living in Las Vegas, and one of her best friends was an x-ray tech, and so she used to let me go back there with her. And back then, like, they developed their own film and, you know, press the buttons to shoot the picture. You, as a kid, have no idea about like positioning and stuff like that. And so my first year of college, I lived in Chicago. And I worked at an orthopedic office, Northwestern actually, just to name throw there a little bit. It's a pretty prestigious place to work. And anyways, I literally was developing x-rays for x-ray techs. I just took the film and put them through this little thing, made sure the chemicals were all good, and you kind of saw a little bit more. And so I was going to school for that, and I was like 2 seconds away from finishing my associates and going into the program, and we got pregnant with Aiden. I just felt like we were getting... I don't know, it's not like we were old when we had him. We were like, I was 25, I think, and Andrew was 27 when we had him. And, right? No. I was 27 and you were 20.
I was 29 when he was born.
Yeah, and I was 27. Sorry, math. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like I was in it, and I had like a really hard talk, you know, with, it wasn't hard with Andrew. Andrew literally would do anything that or let me do anything I wanted to. He's never been like, you know, well, for the sake of this family, you need to really stick this through. And we sank like a lot of money into it. We had student loans out for it, or I did. And it just wasn't something that I wanted to do anymore. And I really wanted to be that stay-at-home mom. Like, I really did. And I always had a vision of working for myself, like doing something that I was really passionate about. And now that I have Cocco Floor, I feel like my dreams for myself, obviously, like being a mom and being a wife and all that, like, has always been a lifelong goal of mine, and I'm so happy and blessed to have the family that I do. But like personal fulfillment, I think Cocco Floor has always been my dream job. I worked in retail for 10 years, and so like merchandising and, you know what I mean, designing and all of that is like right up my alley. And so I think Cocco Floor is definitely my dream job, and I can't wait to see where it goes in the future. Man, this video is gonna be long AF. Okay, Nessa says, was Andrew always supportive of you starting a YouTube channel?
Yeah. Remember when you first asked, or no, you didn't ask, you were just like, so I think I'm thinking about doing a YouTube. I think you like said it that way to kind of see, to gauge my reaction. Yeah. I was like, okay.
He like did not care at all. But Andrew's just that way. Like I said earlier, like he would just support me no matter what I wanted to do. If it wasn't harmful to myself or anyone else, I think he would literally be like, okay. He's just very even keeled that way and supportive. And I mean, he's done so many things like to support me, not only letting me do it, but like he's bought me so much equipment for like gifts and stuff. And even Cocco Floor, like he bought me the mug press and, you know, all of that. So Andrew's always been supportive of everything. Thank you, Miss Nessa. Miss Beth Wade said, would you ever consider moving from Arizona, like maybe to Virginia? LOL, I know you just built a house and your family is there, but with Andrew's career, is there a chance that you may eventually have to leave your newly built house?
So typically active duty military, you're getting moved around. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're going to move from place to place to place. With the Guard falls under the state. So I'm in the Arizona Air National Guard. I'm not going to be going anywhere. I can stay here for the next 13, 14 years and retire out of the same squadron. If I wanted to go to a different base, then I could contact them and see if there are any openings, and I could definitely transfer. But I'm not going to get forcibly moved. That's the beauty about the Guard and the Reserve. Mm-hmm. Now, as for staying in Arizona forever, I don't know. We're happy with the job that I have now, mm-hmm. with my career, and our house. But yeah, just Arizona, the economy's doing okay right now. You know, it seems like it's picking up. We're not picking up, but we're doing okay here in Arizona, you know. But yeah, the climate is just awful.
We have already talked about moving.
Yeah, it won't be. It's not like in a year now.
No,
but sometime in the future.
Yeah,
I couldn't see myself. I was like a 70-year-old man in 115-degree summer out. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I would like to eventually, at some point in time, just to take a random trip to just like pick a state. You know, like for some reason I want to go see what Idaho's all about. Like, I don't know, just random, you know.
But it sounds like yeah, Idaho, like 4 seasons and snow, and I don't know. Andrew and I truly enjoy the cold, which is funny. Like he's like, I can't imagine being 70 years old. Like, can you imagine being 70 and like shoveling snow?
No, so that's the other end of the extreme.
Flip of the coin, yeah. Other side of the coin. I was like thinking, where did I say? Like Washington or Colorado or Ohio. I don't know. Andrew hates the East Coast. He does.
Well,
I mean, not hate, but there's more cons on the East Coast for Andrew than there are like Midwest or, you know what I mean? Like northern, I don't know, like not Wyoming or anything like that, but I don't know. We definitely don't see ourselves staying in Arizona forever. And that could change, you know what I mean? Like maybe our kids will absolutely love it here and thrive and do really well in school. I feel like if everyone was like on a good page, I wouldn't be like, well, let's pack everything up. It's time to go. I just feel like, you know, life is obviously, and God, number one, God is going to put us wherever he needs us. And he definitely put us here for a reason. I feel like with us joining our church and, you know, just like the little community that we found here, we were definitely put here for a reason, and we're going to enjoy it while we're here, but we're definitely open to moving already because we do not enjoy it this summer.
Yeah, the summer, it's killer. I mean, I can deal with it, but it's not fun like in the summertime for those few months where it's just blazing hot. You can't even take the kids outside because they'll literally get burned on the playground or something.
Last one is from Miss Dawn Coolpeppa. She said, for Andrew, more children?
I'm not against it. You know, if another child comes along, then, you know, I'm going to love that baby just as much as I do Aiden and Bailey. It's not like I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, here we go again. You know,
I promise. Just kidding.
I wouldn't, yeah, I don't know. Whatever happens, happens, you know.
I mean, we're not stupid. We know that you either prevent it or you're trying or, you know, something like that. It's not like, well, let's see what happens with, you know, nothing going on. For me personally, I think Andrew's like, it's what you want to do. Like he said, he's open to either way. Like we would be completely, totally happy and more than blessed with just Aiden and Bailey. I personally always saw myself having 3 and I've always wanted 3, but we're in like such a good flow right now with, you know, Bailey turning 1 next month and Aiden's finally in school. Like it's hard to imagine like, okay, let's start all over with, you know, no sleep at night and this and that. And, you know, with me being by myself with him for 6 months, I could be like, you know what? I need you to go ahead and get, you know, snippity snip, like we're done. Or I could be the other way and absolutely miss the baby stage and be like, okay, one last hoorah, let's do it. So I think that obviously prayers and time will tell on if we're truly gonna have 3. We're obviously getting like a bigger vehicle in case we wanna have 3. And we would have the space for another baby, but I think it's just gonna be, like how we feel when Andrew gets home, I think. Because I wouldn't wanna wait too long. Like I wanna be done before I, you know, can't walk anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That was like an hour of questions. There were actually quite a few more on the YouTube video than I first saw when I clicked on it. There was a lot more than I was notified of. So I thank you all very much for sending in your questions. I was like really kind of self-conscious that you guys didn't want to see this because nobody was writing anything, but there's actually quite a few more than I thought. So thank you very much. I ask you for a personal favor on, you know, saying your prayers or sending positive vibes, whatever your flow is, like what your beliefs are, just to give protection to Andrew as he leaves the country mañana, and to help me with my sanity with that, because I need it. It's gonna be interesting. That is it. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you are new, hello and welcome. My name is Brittany Cocco. You are watching the Cocco channel. Please subscribe if you're not already, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.
You're going to be able to edit this?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know how much I'm going to be stumbling here.
You're fine. Nope, no crying. Okay. That kid.